Hello everyone, my name is John McTighe and I'd like to thank you for attending our webinar today on how to place an order in the background screening system. First thing I'd like to do is call your attention to this URL. You're going to want to save this as a favorite place. www.backgrounddecision.com/PLL. Again, www.backgrounddecision.com/PLL. And then from here, you'll be able to learn information to use our private landlord program. And right here is the login button that will launch things in the new system. Now I have that window open already, so I'll just go down here and open it up. And I'm ready to go. So essentially, you're going to take the username and password that has been provided by our team here at SIR, enter that in here, and then you're going to click Login. First time you log in, you're going to be asked to reset your password, and then you'll be asked to answer these security questions. These questions are designed to be able to authenticate you in the event that you forget your password or something like that. It's pretty simple. Pick a question from the drop-down, and then enter the answer here. Repeat that for part number 2 and number 3 here, and then hit Save. Once you've done that, you won't be asked to fill in these questions again, so I strongly suggest that you do it. So from that point on, when you log into the system from there, you'll see the welcome page. And this is where you're going to learn about different webinars that are going on here. As well, you'll find helpful information like a glossary of legal terms and things like that. For the most part, when people come to the system, they're looking to place an order. So let's start there by clicking that tab. And from here, you'll pick the appropriate bundle. I would say the majority of our clients use the private landlord bundle shown here on top. That's our primary seller in the private landlord program. So you'll go ahead and click Order. And then we're going to ask you to make a very important certification to us. We'll ask you this each time you place an order through the system because these are really important points of compliance. Number 1, you're certifying to us that you've received the written permission to conduct the background check from the subject of the report. You're agreeing to securely store a copy of that signed release in accordance with your subscriber service agreement with us. And this is very important. A new provision of the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires certain components of information to be delivered to the applicant in the event that there's some sort of adverse action taken against them, such as charging them a higher deposit or denying them. And in this situation, you're not in a position to provide them all of that information because a lot of it is from their credit report, which you don't have access to. So you're agreeing as well with this certification that you'll click Add to Order, which I'll show you how to do later, and then submit a request for us to mail the adverse action notice. So again, a couple of key points here that we're going to ask you to do each time. So you'll go ahead and click Accept here, and then you'll be able to see the components of the report. For the most part, people don't change these. These are grayed out because they're part of the primary search components. But you can add other things, like, for example, if you wanted to report on bankruptcies, liens, and judgments on this individual, or you wanted to have us talk to prior landlords and verify information about your applicant and how they left things and whether or not they were eligible for their security deposit and those sorts of things. All of that information is out here right on the main screen here. You can add any of those things here. For now, I'll proceed as far as this demonstration goes with the basic check by clicking Next. Now we're going to ask you for some information about the applicant. There's a reference field here, first of all. A lot of folks use this to put in like a unit number or something like that, but it's not a required field. The required fields are marked with the asterisk. So let's go ahead and put a test in here. We've got a test file ready to go. And give me a second to fill that in. So here you go. You've got the ability here to enter that person's name, first and last name. Please note that last name is here and first name is here. This is a common mistake we see people make where they're expecting first name over here and last name to be over here. I do think the fields are clearly marked, but I just want to make sure that you're all aware of that. So you'll enter that information here, the SSN and the date of birth. If you happen to know the middle initial or their generation information, these can be useful as well, but they're not required. Here, by clicking this button, you could add an alias name to be considered in the background check as well. This is not where you would add a co-applicant, but in fact this would be perhaps like a maiden name or something like that. So there's a spot here. Adding alias names does increase the cost of the background check. So just be aware of that. But obviously, if you're trying to protect your property, you probably want to do the best job you possibly can. So go ahead and hit next. And now we're going to ask you for an address. So let's go ahead. I'll just put in SIR's address here. And when I put in the zip code, you'll see that it populates in the rest of the information. So go ahead and hit next as well. And now you can see in between these blue bars here, between the bold blue bar and this other blue bar here, you can see our recommended search jurisdictions. Now this is going to be based off on the person's social security trace, which has an address history as part of it. We're going to be recommending addresses where they've lived in the last 7 years, as well based on the address you entered as their current address as well. So this is a combined set of recommendations here. So sometimes you'll see one address because they've lived in the same place for a while. Other times you may see more than one. It all depends on how many counties they've lived in the last 7 years. So right here will be our recommendations. Occasionally you'll see an alert right here where I'm showing my mouse right now. There's nothing there now. But occasionally you would see an alert, and this would be telling you that there's older addresses as well. There may be other names that you might want to search. For example, might think of an example where someone recently entered a person's nickname in, and in fact, the name was then shown in this situation. So it's just important to kind of point out any other names and things like that. What shows up here will be the ones that exactly matched the name you entered and are within the past 7 years. All right, so once you've got that situated and you made your selection here, you can then go ahead and hit next. The private landlord bundle also comes with an important check called National Crime Net Expanded. This is our own proprietary criminal database, which has something from every state, and there's over 450 million criminal records in it. But in addition, it's got a couple of important points or other components. The expanded version comes with a nationwide sex offender check, as well as a Patriot Act check, which will help you comply with requirements of that law relating to residential transactions, such as renting an apartment. All right, so all that's baked into the National Crime Net Expanded. And again, here we're just going to show you the name that you entered, and if there was an additional alias name, that might also show here as well. And then same thing, right in this area, there may be an alert at this time if there is a name associated with that person's social security trace that you have not entered. So this is an area where sometimes people find other legal names or maiden names that they weren't aware of. And you may want to expand the search to include those names. Again, adding any additional names will increase the cost, but again, as part of doing good due diligence, you may want to consider that. All right, so at this point, most people will just hit next. And now, as well, same thing can be said for our National Eviction Database search as well. The same thing. We'll search under the name that you provided or names that you provided, and if there's additional ones, we'll alert you as well. Go ahead and hit next here. And now the last thing, before this order is made final, you're going to see this summary page here. And this is where we'll show you the information that you entered, such as the name and the social and date of birth. If for some reason there was a problem here, you could use this order entry notes page here to let us know and let the team know. So double check your work here, because these are a mistake here or a mistake here, or even getting the names transposed like we talked about earlier, could be critical error or could cause critical errors in the background check process. So you want to make sure the information you give us is 100% accurate. Now down here you'll see a summary. Now in this demonstration file here today, it comes through as zeros because this is just a demonstration file. In your case, you would see an itemization of the charges here. So you'll see not only the charge for the report, but if there's any additional components such as additional addresses that came up or other names that you wanted searched, you can see all of that information itemized right here with a total. And then once you're ready, you could then complete the order simply by pushing this button. Before I leave this page, I want to point out two other things. You can't come back to this page. You can't come back. So some folks like to right-click somewhere on this page and then hit print, and they can record a copy of it. I wanted to point that out to you. And in addition, there's a spot here where you can add a co-applicant as well. And so this is a great tool here for you to then add another person to be considered as part of this process here. All right, so with all that said, and again, I pointed out a place where you can put order entry notes in for the production team at SIR. You'll go ahead and hit complete order. And now we'll process, and essentially we're bringing up now what we call our results page. This really is very much like a dashboard, and compared to our prior background screening system, it's really it's cleverly laid out. You used to have to go to a number of different places to find out the information that's all in one place here on the results page, such as all the information that was about the order itself, who placed it, when. And in addition, there's information about the applicant that's listed out here. And then if there were co-applicants, they would be listed here as well. And then in this section here, between the two blue bars right here and right here, you'll see all of the components of the background check that was ordered and their status. So in this case, again, because it's a demonstration file, the whole thing is complete at this point. Things like court searches, where we physically go to the courts, and some of these other things could sometimes take a little bit longer than that. But for the purposes of this demonstration, they'll complete out. So at this time, you could click on any of these hyperlinks here, and you could see the additional components here one by one. You could look at these individual components, such as the social trace. You could see what information was associated with this person here. And in addition, you've got information that you could look at for like the criminal records, the National Crime Net, that expanded search that includes the Sex Offender Patriot Act results would be here. Most people choose not to review the components one by one. They use this when a report's in progress to kind of get a sneak peek of it. But most folks wait till the report is done, and then they view the entire report. And this is a nice layout, and it's printable as well here by clicking that button. And this is a full layout of the background check report here in front of you with all of the components and information that was run. All right, so let me go back to the results page. I want to point out a couple of other important sections on this page. Over here, there's the ability to add attachments. This would be a place where you could upload a copy of the release form, or you might want to upload a copy of the person's application. So have at it if you like that. You can go ahead and click the attachments, and then a browse button will appear, and you'll be able to find something that you've stored on your computer, and you can store it here on ours. I also mentioned earlier at the certification text that you were certifying to us that if you deny the person or if you take any kind of adverse action against them, such as charging them, you would want to hit Add to Order here. And then at this point, you would pick Adverse Action. And then you could hit Next. And you'll see one more time that summary here. And then click Add to Order. And what's going to happen, that's going to instruct us to send those notices out to the person indicated with the copy of their credit information that's required under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So you would have to follow those steps for Add to Order here as well. So that's I wanted to show you how to do it. You click Add to Order, select Adverse Action, and then hit Submit. It's really pretty simple, but I wanted to show you how to do that here on this page as well. And then also, very importantly, from time to time you might have a question, maybe such as what's the status of a report, or if you have having difficulty understanding something on a report, you can click this button to request customer service. Let me go ahead and hit the Allow button here, and you could see that this opens up an email with a service request to our team. And from our perspective, it's got all the information that we need. It's the file number, the last name of the applicant, and it lets us know where the name of the customer, where the information is coming from, so we can look at that information. I'll go ahead and cancel out of that. I wanted you to see that this button is right out here. Makes it super easy for you to request customer service from our team. This rings at multiple locations or comes into multiple locations so that your chances of getting a very quick response are very high. I'll also point out at the top here you have a little simple search tool where you can search by a number of different things. Most people choose last name, and you simply enter in the last name here. And if you were to do that, you would then see any of those reports. So it's a great way to retrieve a report on someone that you ran previously. As well, there's help here. So when you click this button, it'll open up a box that'll show you phone numbers for our team and things like that. That email tool that I showed you is really the best way to get a hold of people, where you request customer service right here. But I wanted you to see all the different things. And then lastly is the Utilities tab here, where you can pull some handy reports such as activity and hit ratio. So that's it, folks. That's what I wanted to show you here today on how to place an order, how to retrieve an order, and I hope you enjoy using our background screening system, and I want to thank you very much for your time today. Thanks so much.